Continuing Avery pretrial, July 2006 motion hearing. Next witness. The clerk, please raise your right hand. Pamela Sturm, called as witness herein, having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as to the follows. The clerk, please be seated. Please state your name and spell your last name for the record. The witness, my name is Pamela Sturm, Sturm, Pamela. Direct examination. By Attorney Buting. Now, ma'am, did you review anything prior to your testimony today to refresh your recollection? I read my statement, and that would be the statement that was taken by Calumet County Sheriff's Department. Is that right? Deputy Dettering. Okay, you didn't review your prior testimony you have given? No. No? No. Okay. Didn't see any maps or diagrams or photos or anything of that nature? I saw a photo in the break area, in the break room. And what was that photo of? It was an aerial view of the salvage yard. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any familial relationships or relationship with the Halbach family? They are my relatives, yes. In what degree? Tom Halbach is my first cousin, so Teresa would be my second cousin. Okay, and I understand that you became involved as a volunteered your services, I should say, to help search once Teresa turned up missing. Is that right? That's correct. Can you tell me why you felt it necessary for you to provide some services like that? Well, I guess our motto is family helps family, and Betty had called me on Friday night, which would be the 4th of November, and told me that, Teresa was missing. And I sure wanted to do my part, so I said, is there a search going to be conducted tomorrow, which would have been the 5th, and she said yes. I'm sorry, who is this conversation going on with? Betty Halbach, who is Tom's sister. Okay, and did you have in mind any particular place that you were going to search, or an area that you were going to search when you were having this phone conversation on Friday the 4th? No, I had no idea where the search party was going to the next day. Let me ask you this first, before I get to the next stage. Did you have any prior experience in doing any kind of searches of this nature? Not exactly this nature, no. Not for missing persons or large areas of land. Never for a missing person, and never for a large geographical area. You have some experience as a private investigator, is that right? That's correct. And are you presently licensed? No, I'm not. Were you licensed on November 5th? No, I wasn't. Is there some reason for that? Were you ever suspended or revoked? No, I wasn't suspended or revoked. It was my choice. Okay, so you just let it lapse. Correct. And how long ago was it that you you had that license? Attorney Fallon, objection, relevance. The court, Mr. Buting? Attorney Buting, I can go on. I think it goes to our question of whether one of the issues we're dealing with is whether she's a volunteer or not, so. The court, I'm going to sustain the objection. I haven't heard anything to tie it in. By Attorney Buting, let me ask you this way. Then, as part of your training did you have training to be a private investigator? Yes. And did part of that training involve learning some of the law about the Fourth Amendment searches? Yes. But, in other words, you learned what the standard of probable cause is, correct? That's correct. And did you learn about the need for search warrants? That's correct. Did you also learn about the warrantless searches? Yes. Consent searches? Yes, I believe so. Okay, now up to that point of That Friday, after or Friday evening phone call, had you had any contact with any members of the Calumet County Sheriff's Department? No. Had you ever worked with them on any of your other cases before? No. Besides your private investigator's experience, have you ever had any law enforcement experience? No. So you have never been a sworn officer anywhere? No. Had you had any contact with Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department up to the point of Friday evening, November 4th? No. Now on Saturday morning, then, did you make plans? Were you going to meet somewhere after this discussion you had with Betty? Betty said that the search party was going to meet at Teresa's house approximately 8 a.m. on Saturday. So my daughter and I decided that we were going to go and help with that search. Okay, and any particular reason why your daughter was involved too? She was just eager to assist the family. Okay, and this daughter you were referring to is Nikole? That's correct. And how old is she? 29. Okay, so did you go, in fact, to Teresa's residence on Saturday morning? Yes, we did. And that was based on information you had received from Betty? That's correct. Did you talk to anybody else between that time about what was going on? I talked to my sisters and my mom. And were they also going to this meeting or this? No, they weren't going to. They weren't going to. They weren't part of the search? No. Did you know of any of the people who were going to be part of the search party? I assume my first cousins would be there. Okay, and so you did arrive Saturday morning at Teresa's residence? Yes, that's correct. And who was there? Scott and Ryan were both there. Is that Scott Blodorn? Is that how you say his name? That sounds right. And Ryan you're referring to is Ryan Hilligus? Yes. And Ryan was a former boyfriend of Teresa. Is that? I heard that. Right? I'm not sure. And Scott was her roommate at the time when she disappeared. Is that right? Yes. Okay. Were there any other people there when you arrived? No. So did you ever attend any meeting with other searchers to coordinate who would do what? No. Just when you got to Ryan or Teresa's house, those two people were there. Is your only meeting. Is that what you're saying? That's correct. Were you given reason to think that others had been there earlier and had gone, or were they still coming, or what? I just thought it was peculiar that there were only a couple of cars in the parking lot, but we got there at 9, so we thought that we must have missed the main group. And when you went into the residence, was that confirmed? Yes, that the others they had already left. And were there some sort of maps that they were looking at when you came in? Yes, they had several maps. And how was it determined that you would search? There was already a group dispensed to certain area, and he gave us a map of that area. And what area was that? I'm not sure. So did you go to that area then? No, I said something to Ryan that I would like to actually go to the Avery Salvage Yard and search there. Was that on any of the maps that he had? It just showed Avery Road. It wasn't really part of the search. So were these maps that you were looking at, were they divided up into quadrants or sections or anything like that? It was like a MapQuest, and it had several roads on it. I'm not sure if it's a specific property that they were looking at or boundaries. Okay, but you were saying that the map that didn't actually have the Avery Salvage Yards on it. It just had Avery Road on it. And it was your understanding that none of the other searchers who had left earlier were going to go to Avery Yard. He said that there was no one else that had gone there. Did you have any information whether the police or law enforcement had already done a search of that area, that is, the Avery Salvage Yard? I don't believe so. I didn't have any knowledge of that. So, it was your understanding that it had not been searched Would that be correct? It had not been searched by any of the search party people that wasn't part of the search. Okay, so it was your suggestion that you felt like going there. Is that what you're saying? It was my suggestion. And why did you have that interest in going to that particular area? Because Teresa was last seen on the Avery Salvage Yard, and I thought that's the point where I should start. Search that area first. And who told you that she was last seen there? It was on the press release Friday morning, I believe it was. So that was a press release from the Sheriff Puggle. One of the news stations, maybe it was. I'm not sure. Okay, so your understanding though is that you learned from specific media information that was provided, right? On Friday morning. Mm-hmm. By the way, do you know Sheriff Puggle personally? No, I don't. Before this case, had you ever met him? No, sir. Or talked to him at all? No, sir. Okay, so you decided you wanted to go to Avery Salvage because that was the last place that you knew that she was seen. That's correct. And did you have any fears or concerns about your safety in going to that location? Yes. What were those? Attorney Fallon, objection, relevance. The court. Mr. Buting? Attorney Buting, I will move on. I will go to something else, actually. Attorney Buting, you decided, though, to go with just yourself and your daughter. That's correct. And neither one of you were armed or anything like that, right? No. And did you make any kind of arrangements to have the two women alone going to this strange place? Did you make any kind of arrangements to have any kind of backup security or anything like that? No. Did you tell anybody that you were going there? I told Ryan. Do you know whether Ryan called the police, or let anybody know that you were going to that location? I don't know if he did or not. Did you ask Ryan to come along with you? No. Is there any particular reason? He was the coordinator for the search party. Okay, and by coordinator, what do you mean? Well, if anybody called in, they would know. He would know where to send them for that search for that day. Okay, so the plan was that if people were to call him, he would coordinate it from there. I believe so. So if anybody found anything suspicious or untoward, they would call him and report it. Is that right? I received Sheriff Puggle's personal telephone number to contact him in case I found any kind of evidence. Okay, and how did you get that? I got that from Ryan. Okay, so did Ryan tell you that he had spoken to Sheriff Puggle then and gotten his personal phone number? No, he didn't. He didn't tell me that. So you just assumed it since he gave it to you. Is that right? I wasn't sure. Attorney Fallon, objection. Relevance as to what she assumed. It also calls for speculation. The court sustained. Attorney Fallon. All right. So when you say you had Sheriff Puggle's personal phone number, did you understand that to be his cell phone or something like that, or what? All I understood, it was his direct line to him. Okay. So when you arrived at Avery property, had you ever been there before? No. Did you know or have any idea how many cars were in that? I had no idea how many cars were in that area. All I heard was it was a 40-acre plot. So, would it be fair to say that you knew there would been thousands of cars? Yes. And what was your intent in going to that property? I was going to look at each and every car to try and find a trace of Teresa. Okay, you were going to look inside each vehicle? We looked inside the vehicle. We didn't actually go inside a vehicle, but we looked in the windows. So it was your intent to not only look for her vehicle, but also to look for her, perhaps in some other vehicle, right? Correct. And did you think that with just the two of you that you would be able to cover the whole yard? We hoped we could get it done that day. Okay, and were you Besides looking for her, were you also looking for her vehicle? Yes. And did you have some description of the vehicle? Yes. We had a sheet on the vehicle and what it looked like. And that sheet, the plate number, what kind of sheet are you referring to? It was, I believe, a picture of her car. Okay. And did the car, what kind of information was on that sheet? It was a Toyota RAV4, and there was a license plate number, the color, the what? The color. And what was the color? Green. Okay. And there was a year also on there, model year. I think so, but I can't remember. All right. So when you arrive at the Avery Salvage Yard and you drive in, there's a number sort of business type buildings. Is that right? Yes. One of which has a sign that says Avery Salvage Yard, correct? Yes. You stopped there rather than driving into the rest of the yard, right? I stopped there? Where is there? Well, I'm sorry, you stopped at that building that said Avery Salvage Yard on it. Yes. From there, you could make out that there was sort of a pit, a depressed area with many cars off in the distance. Yes. But you didn't drive into past those buildings and go down into the pit initially, did you? No. And why was that? Because I wanted to ask permission first before we went. Okay. And did it appear obvious to you that before you would go into a place, back area where all those cars were, that you should get permission? Yes. Didn't appear to be an area where it was just open to the public without any permission at all. I didn't think so. Okay, and then did you speak with anyone there? Yes, and who was that? Earl Avery. And what did you tell him? I asked him if we could search the salvage yard for Teresa's car, or any evidence of Teresa. And by Teresa, did he seem to know who you were talking about? Absolutely. Did he give you any hesitation at all? He hesitated a little bit, yes. And when you say he hesitated a little bit, what did he do, or what did he say? He said that someone else tried to search the area and that they used their car and they almost got stuck and came right back out. Okay, so did you use your powers of persuasion then to allow him to search, or what? Well, I just told him that we would search on foot and that we wouldn't take our car. And did he seem to have any problem with that? No, he recommended walking. And did you tell him anything that you were in any way on behalf of the police to give you any kind of authority or anything of? No. That nature? No. Did you tell him that you were part of some sort of official search party that had been organized by the police? No. So you didn't mention that you had any connection in any way to the police? No. I mean, is that yes? I told him that I didn't have. No. He never even asked if I had any, contact with the police or was with the police. And I never said that I was with the police. All right, thank you. Did you have a discussion with Earl about hunting season coming up? Yes. And talking about hunters, perhaps finding something, do you recall that? Yes. Did you say that you were hoping that perhaps hunters would find some evidence of Teresa out in the woods or something? Yes. Was it your assumption that she was already dead? No. Then why would you be expecting hunters to find something? I said some type of evidence. What sort of evidence were you expecting the hunters would find? Attorney Fallon, objection, speculation, relevance to the narrow issue for what we're here for. The court sustained by Attorney Fallon. All right. So you are saying it was your assumption that she was still alive? Well, I surely hope she was. Surely hope so. Yes. Okay. And so then, did you proceed to walk into the pit, you and your daughter? That's correct. Now, it was your intention, you said, to look inside each vehicle as well as to look for Teresa's vehicle. Yes. Why did you pick that part of the yard that you went to start searching? I believe God led us the way through prayer. Okay, did you say a prayer before you went in? Sure, I did. And I mean, you were asking for some guidance on which place to start searching for. Yes, and I think all my cousins were praying too, so it really worked. Okay, I believe in that power as well, but I guess my question would be, as far as the area that you chose to search in the salvage yard or those thousands of cars, were you asking for that kind of guidance? I sure was. Dear God, tell me which way to go? Sure, I was. Okay, so that's how you decided? Yes. There was nothing about any aspect of the property you were searching that gave you any reason to go one place versus another? No. Were there other people in the salvage yard as well? Yes. Did you speak with any of them? No. You didn't ask them to see if they could help you search as well? No. Did you ask them whether they had seen a car like hers, a RAV4, anywhere in there? No. The people I came upon were speaking Spanish. Okay, so is that why you didn't go up to them? Because you thought you would be able to communicate? No. Well, why did you not? Because I did not want to get them involved. Was there some reason? I didn't know these people, and I'm on Avery Salvage Yard. Well, did you have some reason to feel guilty or about being there on the... No, I just thought perhaps they may be dangerous, so I would not approach them. Okay, so you were concerned already that there was some foul something amiss in the whole Avery Salvage Yard. Is that what you're saying? Attorney Fallon, objection. He's leading the witness, and she just said she perceived danger. So I'd object to the use of the term foul or something amiss. I think her testimony is clear. She felt there was some danger, and that's why she didn't approach. The court, the objection is sustained. In addition, I guess I'm not following how some of this line of questioning is relevant to the motion here. Attorney Beauty, all right, I will move on, Judge. Attorney Beauty, can you tell me, was there anything that you drew your attention to in that particular area where you found it? No, sir. And you looked through how many vehicles before you came upon the RAV4? Approximately 50. And that was looking inside as well as looking at the vehicle? Yes. Opening trunks and all that, or no? No. Just inside? Right. Okay. And when you came upon this particular vehicle, this RAV4, was it, about how long do you think you had been searching? Approximately 20-25 minutes. Okay, just a short while. And if I understand the area where you found it, it was in a single row of cars. It was kind of double parked. It was up on a ledge. This quarry is shaped like a bowl, and on the ledge were about 7 or 8 cars. Okay, and they were all in a single file, except for this one. I think they were zigzagged a little bit, or not exactly bumper to bumper. Okay. So, and the RAV4 though, it was sticking out to some degree. No, I don't believe so. Okay. Now, when you walked up to it, did you look inside? Yes. Did you see any blood? No. You didn't see Teresa? No. Did you see anything with her name on it? I'm sorry. Did you need some tissue? Did you need some tissues? What was the last question? Did you see anything with Teresa's name on it inside the vehicle? No. Did you try the doors? No, I didn't. Did you see your daughter try the doors? I was actually looking at the VIN number when she was trying to open the doors. And that was just the front passenger and the front driver's side door, to your knowledge? I'm not sure. Okay, did you take note of anything else inside the vehicle? There was a pop can on the floor, the passenger side. in the front. Did you look under the vehicle? I don't recall. Okay, now, was it at that time, I skipped over some stuff. Your daughter was separated from you for a short period of time, right? Yes. But you called her over to come look at the vehicle as well. Yes. And you thought that there was, that this was similar to what the description was? Yes. Would you say that it matched the description exactly, or it was real close to the description? You had some concern about the color. Yes. Looked more. Did it look more blue than green? I think. Right. And then you called the special number that you had. Is that right? Um, or did your daughter? You'll have to ask my daughter. Okay. So you didn't dial it? No. Did your daughter speak to anybody, or did she hand it to you? She handed it to me. And did you speak with Sheriff Poggle then immediately, or it went to his voicemail first, and then I dialed 0 again, and the operator answered. So it gave you, from the voicemail, it gave you an option to dial 0 to go to an operator on the voicemail rather than leaving a message. Yes. Okay. I didn't understand it first, and then you spoke with the operator or that dispatcher who put you in touch with Sheriff Poggle. Yes, she did. And did you tell him what you had, or explain to him that you had found the vehicle or a vehicle that was similar to it, right? I believe it was her vehicle, yes. You asked for the VIN number though, right? You didn't have the VIN number. No, we didn't have the VIN number. And there were no license plates on it, right? No plates on it. And it was more blue than green, like you were expecting, right? It was bluish green. So you had some doubt, enough doubt that you wanted to see if you could compare the VIN number. Right. But it was camouflage, so yeah, we probably suspected it was her car. Okay, and then he wasn't able to give you the VIN number, so he passed it off to someone else. I don't recall that. Do you recall speaking to Investigator Wiegert? I don't recall that. Okay, so at any rate, then you weren't, I don't want to leave, but I'm trying to move things along. You weren't provided with the actual VIN number, though, correct? It was on some sheet, but we didn't have that specific sheet with us. I see. So instead, they asked you to look and see if you could find the VIN number on that vehicle, though. Yes. And you were able to provide all of the VIN numbers in that VIN numbers to the officer you spoke with? I didn't have my glasses on, so my daughter read the numbers to me while I read it to the officer on the phone. Okay. And do you know, was she able to see all of them, or only a partial? You'll have to ask her. Okay, she didn't tell you? I mean, you heard her. She was passing numbers to you. Right. And she didn't say whether some of it was obscured or not? I think she did say that. Yes. That she could not see all of them? That she could not see all of them. All right. I have an advantage of having seen the transcript of your call, but you indicated that you thought it was a particular model year, a 99 or year 2000. Do you recall that? No, I don't recall that. Okay, did you have any sort of knowledge or information that would enable you to tell the year of the vehicle like that? No, I have no knowledge of that. And then the officer that you spoke with told you to stand by? He told us not to touch anything and to move away from the car. And how long was it before the officers arrived, the first officer? I would say approximately 20 minutes. Do you know who the officer was? It was Officer Rimerick. Rimerick. Remiker? Rimiker. I'm sorry. Yes. While you were waiting, did you speak with that Officer Rimiker? My daughter did. Your daughter spoke with him by cell phone? I believe so. And then how long were you at the scene after that before you were allowed to leave? I don't believe we left until about 12:30. So, and I'm sorry, do you know what time it was when you discovered the car, the RAV4? Approximately 10:20 to 10:25. All right. Attorney Buting, I have nothing further. Thank you. The witness, thank you. The court, Mr. Fallon? Attorney Fallon, yes, just one moment. Yes, Your Honor. A moment or two, we're going to ask the witness to identify an audio recording. The court, is there any chance of the parties stipulating that the recording is the correct one? Attorney Buting, sure. The court, I assume this is something that's been exchanged? Attorney Fallon, it has been exchanged and there is a transcript that I'm able to provide the court and counsel. We'd like to mark that and hand it to the witness. We can do that. The court, all right. Defense has a copy, I take it? Attorney String, I do. Attorney Buting, I do. The court, all right, we'll have one marked, and then do you wish to introduce the CD of the actual conversation to evidence? Attorney Fallon, I would. The court, we'll have that marked. Attorney Fallon, is the stipulation then, counsel, that the voices which appear on the tape are the voices of the witnesses Pamela Sturm, Sheriff Hoggle, and Investigator Wiegert? Attorney Buting, and the dispatcher. Attorney Fallon, and the dispatcher. Attorney Buting, whose name I don't know that I have. Do you? Attorney Fallon, I don't have the dispatcher's name. We could certainly supplement the record with that. Attorney Buting, yes, we would stipulate that those are the voices. Very well. The court, very well. Attorney Fallon, all right, very well. Exhibit 16 and 17 are marked for identification. Attorney Fallon, may I approach the witness? The court, yes. Cross-examination by Attorney Fallon. Ms. Sturm, have you ever had an opportunity to review the transcript of the audio recording? No, I haven't. All right, very good. I will take that. Thank you. Attorney Fallon, pursuant to the stipulation, I would offer Exhibit 17. The court may examine it at its leisure. The court, any objection to Exhibit 17, Mr. Buting? Attorney Buting, no objection. The court, all right, Exhibit 17 is admitted. By Attorney Fallon. Just so I'm clear, I just have a few questions, Ms. Sturm. You became aware of Teresa's disappearance when? Approximately November 4th at like 10 a.m. over the TV. So that would have been Friday morning about 10 o'clock. Correct. And you hadn't caught any of the newscast or any of the information from the previous day? No. And your first contact with anyone regarding her disappearance would have been your cousin, Tom Halbach's sister, Betty, called you? Yes. And that occurred on Friday evening that same day? Yes. About how late in the day would that call have occurred? Your best recollection. Before dinner, after dinner? I think after dinner. All right. On that day, Friday, did you have any discussion with any member of law enforcement regarding Teresa's disappearance? No, sir. Directing your attention then to Saturday morning, prior to calling Sheriff Hoggle, did you have a discussion with any law enforcement officer, whether it be Manitowoc County, Calumet County, any police officer whatsoever regarding Teresa's disappearance? No, sir. Did you have any discussion whatsoever with any law enforcement officer regarding the volunteer search efforts? In other words, letting them know that you're ready to join the search? No, sir. When you arrived at the residence where Ryan Hilligus and Scott Bloner were coordinating, as it were, these efforts, there was no law enforcement officers present, correct? No, sir. Just so that we're absolutely clear, your decision, or excuse me, the idea to go to the Avery Salvage Yard was entirely your idea. That's correct. And as far as you knew, from your discussions with Mr. Hilligus and Mr. Blodorn, no one else had offered to go to that particular locale? Yes. And your reason for choosing it was because it seemed to you logical that it would be a place to look because according to the information you had become aware of, that this was the last place that she was located. That is correct. Now, did that information in terms of the last place seen by her, did that come in that 10 o'clock news information, or did that come later in the day from Betty Halbach, or perhaps did it come on Saturday morning? Then, when in sequence did you become aware of that? It was Friday morning on the TV. All right, the news release. And you had no discussion with any law enforcement officer about that particular aspect of the missing persons case, that she was last seen or last believed to be seen at that property for a business appointment? No. When you arrived at the Avery Salvage Yard, you spoke, I believe you said, with Mr. Earl Avery. Is that correct? That's correct. Did you speak with him inside the building, or was it outside on the grounds? It was out on the grounds. And do you recall which building it was in front of or near that you had your conversation with him? In other words, did it appear to be a business office, a residence, a shed, anything stick in your mind? It appeared to be a building with an office inside. Did you at all go into the office? Yes, I did. All right, and in the office, did you observe, for instance, any missing person poster of Teresa Halbach in that office? No. All right, you indicated that Mr. Avery your belief was that Earl Avery he knew exactly what you were there for and you were looking for. Yes, he did. All right, and how was it that you reached that conclusion that he was quite sure what you were there wanting to do? He agreed to the search, and I told him that we were searching for Teresa or her vehicle or any trace of her. Or any trace of her? Yes. Okay, all right. You go down to you start in that area and you search for 20-25 minutes and you come upon her vehicle. Is that correct? Yes. All right. Now, there were some questions from counsel regarding your or your daughter's attempt to get into the vehicle. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Just so I'm clear, you yourself did not attempt to get into the vehicle. No. All right. Your daughter, you think, attempted to get in the vehicle, at least tried one or more of the doors? Yes. All right. And the front door and the doors were locked, correct? Correct. And you could not get into the vehicle, correct? Correct. Now, describe for us, was the vehicle, when you came upon it, describe the condition of the vehicle. How was it? You said you used the word camouflage. Tell us about that. There were branches leaning up against it, also a hood from another car leaned up against it, plywood, and the roof, there were branches, so it was covered. Be fair to say that it was difficult to look inside the vehicle because of this stuff? No, it wasn't really difficult to look inside. I could see, through the branches. All right, there was a viewing area. In your initial efforts to read the VIN number, did you have to move anything? No. Did your daughter have to move anything? No. When she attempted? No. Attorney Fallon. Okay, that's all. The court. Any redirect? Attorney Buting. No. The court. All right, the witness is excused. Attorney Buting. Can we just have a minute, Your Honor? The court. Sure. We'll take a 2-minute break, then come back. Brief recess second. The court. All right, counsel, you may call your next witness. Attorney Buting. The other witness I was going to call today would have been the daughter, Nikole. However, I think given the testimony of her mother, it's probably not necessary, so I will not do that. The court. All right. So does that. Now, wait a minute. That doesn't conclude the evidence. Attorney Fallon. I think that was just giving us, we adjourn for today. I think that's what it means. The court. And Mr. Buting, you will have more witnesses to call on the Frank's motion on the 9th. Attorney Buting. Correct. The court. All right. Is there anything else to address today before we adjourn? Attorney Buting. Just one last thing. The state subpoenaed Mr. Hilligus, and he was here and was told to come back. but because the state subpoenaed him and I did not, I would just ask if you intend to withdraw your subpoena at any point, let me know. Otherwise, I will assume by the court's comments that it will be here the next time. Attorney Fallon, I will make sure that we contact him. I believe we told him to come back on the 9th. Attorney Beauty, oh, was he not one of the ones who was here? Attorney Fallon, he was here. Attorney Beauty, he was. That's fine. That's fine then, Judge. The court, all right. Anything further? If not, we're adjourned for today. Attorney Strang, thank you. Proceedings concluded.